Hi, Luxees. Welcome back to the Luxury Live Show. Of course, with me here is my co-host, Fashionably Amy. And today we have our biggest panel ever. Even we are slightly nervous because we've never done or hosted something as large as this. So let me bring them all in. I am sure they don't need much introduction. So let's bring Connor. Hi, Connor. Hi. Dayle and Meredith. Wow, let me arrange everyone
The
first.
screen is totally different this time.
Wow. Thank you everyone for joining us because Amy and I were talking about why don't we do like a really big panel, and we know that three of you are friends, so we're so happy to have you on this live stream. And yeah, we have so many things to talk about.
Yay.
Thanks for having us.
Big welcome to the Luxury Live Show. I know you guys started your own live streams too. It's super exciting to, I don't know, I definitely feel like the future of YouTube is more about conversations, like getting deeper into conversations, and this is super fun, this collab.
Yeah, so anyway, what we're going to do today is we've got a bunch of questions because we've never done something like that. So we've prepared some questions. We're going to put it up and then we'll just let everybody talk. And if you have any questions to anyone, Connor, Meredith, Dayle, or even for us, please put them in the chat and then we will pull it up the front. Okay, so we'll get started because we have quite a few questions. Let me take the first one.
And just to remind the audience, especially if you're new here, usually we want, well, it's easier if you type question marks in front of your comment or your question for us. If you're directing it at us, it's easier for us to see it. That way I can pull it and then we can throw it into screen for everyone.
Yep. That will be helpful. Okay, so we're going to talk about some future of YouTube. Okay, let's go. What do you like to watch? What does everyone like? Okay, what do you like to watch? And what do you want to see on YouTube? What do you think will come in the future? Let's start with Connor.
Yay. I think what Amy said just before, I think more conversation-based kind of videos that aren't like, this is my opinion, like whether you take it or leave it, blah, blah, blah. More like, these are my kind of thoughts. What do you think about it? Maybe in the comments, add something to it, and then we can kind of build from there. I think that is a lot more engaging than just like, the old-fashioned my way or the highway kind of video, I think. And I also think now people want more than just you standing up on camera and saying like, this is what I bought, this is what I did. They want the entertainment factor, like a story, and they want it to be funny, or they want the person to put their own twist on what happened or how they got something or whatnot. I think that's what I've gathered anyways. What about you ladies?
What do you watch, Connor? What kind of content are you watching?
Well, do you mean luxury content or just in general on YouTube?
Well, let's keep it luxury.
Okay, good. I mean, I don't watch a lot of YouTube, to be honest, like a luxury YouTube. Normally, I'll just watch the people that I've subscribed to when I've got time. So I'll normally watch like, Cassie, or I'll watch you guys, or I'll watch like Autumn Beckman's videos. And I find though, I go back and watch a lot of content with people that I don't necessarily care about what they're talking about. I more just like the way they do things and the way they present and the way they edit their videos. If it's like really short and snappy and like a good edit, I'll find I'll be more engaged. But if it's, quite sloppy or it's a bit, I'm like, okay, yeah, we get it. Next. Then I lose interest. So, and I watch all of my YouTube on TV. I don't watch it on my phone. So I'll be like on the couch or in bed and I'll have it on the TV. And I'm like, well, it's not like your phone where you can just change the video. Like I'm like, I've set this video up, so it better be good because I don't want to get up and like get the remote and change. So, yeah.
And if Connor's ever tagged you in a photo of his TV when he's watching you on the big screen, it is the most intimidating thing because he also is colorblind, and so his TV saturation makes you look like a Oompa Loompa, like you're just orange. It's just horrible. And the
Like it
angles
highlights everything. Like if a bag's like navy blue on the TV, it'll be like electric blue, or if it's like, red, it'll be like blood colored. Like it just emphasizes all the colors so I can see them properly. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that fluoro bag, and they're like, it was not fluoro.
Oh wow! So is it a really big TV?
Well, it's a big TV, but just the colors. Like Dayle looks like she's fallen asleep in a bag of Doritos. It's like orange.
My brother actually has, I think he has like a 70-inch TV, and they also watch everything on the TV, but they don't watch actual TV. They would put on like the Disney, the Disney Channel for the kids, or if it's like YouTube, they would put it on. Like, so a few times when Kat and I are doing our live stream, my sister-in-law would put it up, and so we're like literally gigantic on the TV, and then my little nephew would stand beside it. They snapped a picture for me just to like say, oh, we're supporting the luxury live show.
Get those views up, kids.
Get those views up.
He probably doesn't even understand what we're saying because it's all gibberish to him, but it is gigantic. Like if you have a very big TV, because they have a 70-inch, my gosh, we look bigger on the TV than we are in real people.
The TV in my bedroom 65-inch, and when you're in a small room, it's like huge. So I've seen all of you very close up. I'm like, oh, Dayle, wax your nose this week. That's good. Just kidding.
What about you, Dayle?
Thanks for changing the subject. That's good. Okay. Connor, you have gone red now, just FYI. So future of YouTube, yeah, I have to agree. It's boring, but I have to agree that more interactive content, I think, is a great mix. And certainly it's taken a little while, but the subscriber unboxings that I'm doing are getting a lot of traction, so much so that this month I've had to split it in two because there are so many submissions, which is a really good thing. So many people that want to share with others, because YouTube doesn't really give people with their Google accounts the ability to share. If you don't have a channel, you can't post on a community page a picture or whatever. You can write a comment. Maybe YouTube will start, having a bit of a chat bit on our YouTube pages. That might be something that happens where people can actually engage more than just on the video itself, because we go over to Instagram, and I wonder, is that smart for YouTube, having people go to Instagram to have conversations and share pictures and things when perhaps you could do that on your community page somehow? So maybe that's something to, YouTube, if you're listening.
Or even post like comment photos on your video, like, hey, I got this exact same thing. This is mine, because it would beef it up a bit more too.
Yeah, and as a content creator, I find I get a lot of inspiration from my comments around what videos to make, based on, it might be a comment that is totally the opposite of what I've shared. I'm like, oh, let me examine that a bit more and talk about the other side of the argument. Or it could be an experience somebody had, and then I can go to Instagram and say, hey, has anyone else had an experience like this? So, yeah, I think in terms of what I like watching now, it's changed dramatically since I first started. I tend to, like Connor said, I watch the personalities. I watch people who buy bags that I don't care for. So it's, there's evidence in that. It's not just a throwaway comment. And I know a lot of people watch my channel that would never buy, the pieces that I buy either. So I think a bit of charisma definitely doesn't go astray in terms of the people that I watch, but also, like Connor, I do like a snappy edit as well. I like to be engaged, unless it's Lydia Elise Millen doing a lifestyle vlog or something, and then I just watch and watch for an hour and a half, and I don't complain. So, yeah.
Interesting, because I was thinking like you would do more what's that, yeah, chit chats, because you're really good at sharing all those, like Jessie does a lot of topics, and So those would be the ones on your channel, but you're saying your subscriber unboxings, the ones that they send to you. I haven't watched that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. We've tried to do that, right, Amy? We did a little bit of that on our live as well, but mainly for members.
Well, yeah, just for members, just because not everyone is, not everyone's comfortable to be sharing publicly with, like basically a bunch of strangers knowing what they bought. So yeah, but within the members, they are kind of, well, they actually almost come on just to chat with each other. I find like we're being ignored when we're talking, but yeah, it's definitely good, like to have that kind of community. And it's different when you're doing more of a public live, because then you get the recurring viewers that do come for us, but then you also get people that might have just seen the thumbnail or are just interested in that particular topic that day. And either way, the conversation always comes to a lively
yeah, it's interesting because we think that people may not want to share, but you're saying, Dayle, is that they want to share. So you have created a platform for people to actually do unboxings without actually doing unboxings.
Yeah, so sometimes it's changed, and I guess this is what tells me that it's catching on, in addition to the volume of submissions, is initially people would not be on camera. Very rarely would someone be on camera. They would be behind their camera and they would just do a reveal. And that was good because and I wasn't narrating initially. And then someone suggested, oh, maybe you could narrate and tell us a bit about the piece. I'm like, yep, okay, cool, I can do that. And then I started to do that, and then people started to send me videos with them speaking, but not being visible. And then sometimes, like, I'm always excited when someone's sitting in front of the camera going, look what I got, you know, and this is a story of what I was looking for and how I chose it and what I'm going to use it for. And it's in a minute. So people have to be pretty creative. So literally the one that I put out this morning, there's a part 2 next week because volume, and also some people have purchased things that aren't technically released until the 8th of June, so they don't want to get in trouble with their client advisors. But that one, I've got somebody who's got their doorbell cam and a man in a suit delivered their Louis Vuitton bag, you know, and so she's integrated that into her unboxing as if, like, if this is not a VIP delivery, I don't know what is, kind of thing.
Wow.
So I've now kind of said, okay, most creative unboxings, I'm going to award a prize. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's how creative you are in filming it. So I think we'll see some pretty cool stuff come up as a result of that.
Dayle, where would you get the most people? Like, what country would send you the most videos?
Good question. I've not really thought about it. I'd say a lot from the US, a lot from Australia, a few from the UK. I get a lot from like the Netherlands and Austria and Germany, Singapore, Hong Kong. Yeah, all over.
All over, yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah, it's so cool. And that's why I write their kind of country of origin on the screen, so you get a sense of where people have come from.
Interesting. Thanks, Dayle. What about you, Meredith? What do you think about the future of YouTube?
So I'm an average consumer. I'll watch whatever I'm interested in at the time. At the moment, I'm watching an awful lot of Amazon travel hacks.
You think you're an average consumer
of YouTube.
Oh.
Of YouTube, my friend.
Oh, yes.
Everybody else watches. So yes, at the moment I'm spending like $500 a day on Amazon buying travel hack things to take overseas with me. In terms of luxury, I really enjoy Dayle's subscriber unboxings because I always like vlogs. So I like to see what's out in other countries because Australia is so limited in what we get in terms of stock. Like if a line releases here, we won't get all of it. We never get everything. So I like to watch vlogs in other countries to see what's on shelves as people are shopping. But Dale's subscriber unboxing is like that, but with a whole heap more joy, because these people have actually bought them and they're so excited about it. So I'm seeing what other countries have in terms of stock because these people have bought them, and I'm getting their excitement and their joy, and I like that's always a lot of fun. So I love watching those sorts of things. And I've got favorite YouTubers. I'll watch anything that Dayle and Connor put out, obviously. Like they can read their recipe and I'll listen to it.
We love you, Meredith.
But I treat YouTube as a podcast a lot of the time. Like I'll watch it while I'm working, or I'll watch it while I'm in the shower, but like it's like a podcast in the background. So unless it's something I've really got to be focused on, I do like those kinds of talking videos where I can just listen to it while I'm doing other things. It just, it makes it easier for me. And I think that's probably where we're going to see YouTube head, more like podcast. And did I see the other day a feature in the studio where you can now do podcasts from YouTube? So clearly they're thinking that's something that's going to work well. So I think we'll see more podcast style videos where it is just let's have a chat about this, and you're literally just watching someone with a microphone talk about something. So I think that's probably where we will see it head, and away from the let me present this, what fits in my bag, that kind of stuff.
Very interesting. I'm gonna ask before we share, like, what about shorts? Nobody talk about shorts. None of you said, the future of YouTube is shorts.
You have TikTok for shorts. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think YouTube needs it.
Love TikTok.
Yes.
Oh,
Like my shorts, I've done things that I put on TikTok that have got lots of views, and I put them on YouTube, and they'll get like 5,000 views or something, and you make like 20 cents. I'm like, why would I do that? 20 cents. It took me longer in my time to upload it onto thing. So you have to be like lots of views.
Yeah.
Like 100,000 views gets you $1. No thanks.
But I do think I do think it's the future, because it's you can tell by the algorithm it's pushing a lot of shorts to us. When I'm watching it, for the next time, I'm watching a shorts. I didn't even know I'm watching a shorts. It's that it's
Sneaky.
Yeah, it's that sneaky, and you can tell that even because of that, long form videos are not getting as much subscribership. So they are definitely pushing for shorts. It's a skill though. So if you're good at TikTok, you're most likely good at doing shorts on YouTube, because short form content is actually really hard to do.
Yeah.
I know Steph from Handbagaholic, she'll do a lot of shorts, and I can tell she's really tried to focus on like key points just to fit in the video without it going for the full length, and then at the end it's like, all right, bye. So I can tell that there's a lot of thought that does go into them when they are done. Or she'll do a video on said topic and then do a short to condense the key points from it to kind of relate to it. So if you do watch one or the other, you're like, oh yeah, I want to watch more, go watch the actual video, which is quite clever.
Yeah. What about you, Amy? What do you think the future of YouTube is going to be like?
Well, it's interesting to hear from the three panel that we just heard. So I agree with a bit of everybody saying. So I also think that it depends on the demographic, like the type of content that you enjoy. So I'll just start with what I enjoy watching first. And that has changed dramatically over the years, because when I first started YouTube, I had a small collection of luxury, but I was still quite like trying to build it. And so I loved watching anything that had to do with luxury unboxings or reviews, just because I wanted to see what's available out there and pretty much getting ideas on what I can like possibly add to my own collection. Versus now, like many years later, I'm more thoughtful and specific as to what I like to watch. In fact, I don't watch a lot of luxury YouTube anymore, because anytime I do watch something, it's because I'm interested in something already and I just want to find out information on it. So more like reviews. I still enjoy unboxings, but mostly from the YouTubers that I already enjoy. So I'm more watching their content because I enjoy their personality or I just enjoy them. And so it's less about what they're unboxing, but more about them talking. Oh, I hope there's no feedback. So that's what I enjoy watching now in terms of luxury. But like I said, I don't watch a ton of luxury YouTube anymore just because I'm more specific as to what I watch. Instead, what Meredith was saying about podcasts, I listen to YouTube long form contents because I literally just put it up and I would do my chores or I'm like doing something. And I like the content that are like at least half an hour to an hour long. And it's just like in the background playing. And it can be anything from health related topics to what's the other topic that I watch? Sometimes I watch tech topics, but health and tech are like the main ones. I recently discovered a finance channel, but I was not really interested in the finance topics, but more like the people that they interview. So it's very much like podcast versions, like interviewing people, because it's just interesting to know what they've done to achieve what they are now. And so for me, long form content is what I want to see more of on YouTube because that's what I enjoy. And that's what I was saying, like it depends on the demographic. I'm not someone who enjoys shorts. I don't have the like, to me it doesn't add value to me. Like I don't find the entertainment on it. The value that I get from the long form content is like the knowledge or like their experiences. That's more valuable to me. Watching a short is like, I'll use like, it's kind of like brainless watching, and I don't find that to be of value for me. So I understand that shorts are being pushed a lot on YouTube, but I feel like it's more the way I use it anyway, because I do put out like a short here and there, but the way I use it is more to like summarize a video or maybe a topic that I've already done, but to summarize into like under a minute, just so that someone who doesn't want to watch the whole 10-minute video can watch the short and get the gist of it. That way I watch it, I suppose, or that way I feel like I would consume it more, and that's why I do it. I understand it's probably not the most popular because it's not viral or anything, but yeah, that's my thought on it. And I feel like YouTube is always going to be around. Like there's always going to be talks about whether YouTube is going to be sustainable and all that. It will always evolve and change. And it depends on the demographic. I just find that with YouTube, whether you're doing podcasts or sit down videos, there is always going to be a demand for either one. Like I said, like I do prefer watching podcast form just when I'm doing kind of like stuff and multitasking, but I also do sit down. I also enjoy sit down videos that are really thoughtful. Like they really took the time to share the important information that I wanted to know about that certain product. So like the evergreen videos that I prefer to make because that's what I enjoy watching. But I also know that those are only going to be watched by people who are looking up those items. So it's sort of like, they're never going to be viral content, but they will always be available for someone who's looking for that. And I find that more valuable in that sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we kind of touching on it from two perspectives here in terms of what do we like to watch and what gives us a return on our time for making it. And I think there comes a point when you are on YouTube for a little while where you can't ignore your analytics. And sometimes I say it would be better that I didn't have them because it's not why I started my YouTube channel to make money. You have to work way harder on YouTube to make money than I do in my regular job. So it doesn't even come close to a motivator. But I see the analytics and the psychology of you could do better or you didn't do as well as last time really motivate you to think about it from an analytical perspective on views and clicks and retention rates and audience engagement and that kind of thing. And yeah, I think that's the conflict I constantly have as a creator between what I like to watch and what I like to make, and what is going to give me a good return on the time that I've invested in the research and the filming and the editing and the promotion. And a lot of the time I get it wrong. Like the things I think will do well flop, and I put so much time and effort into it, and just sitting there talking about some random topic does really well, and it's like a 5-minute edit and it's up, and I'm like, what? How is that 1 of 10 for the last, however many videos I've put up? So I don't know.
It's true. I actually agree with you, Amy. Like what I've used to watch, because when I started, I love to watch all these unboxings and reviews, and some of these reviews, I mean, you're talking like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Where they are not structured. It's really messy. They're trying to adjust the camera they're using. So I would just watch them because, again, the collection was small. I didn't understand what was out there. So when I came on board, I was like, okay, I'm going to do reviews. But over the years, because my collection has grown, I'm same as you. I only watch if I want to buy something and I'm looking for a specific review. But it has also influenced the way I want to do reviews in the future, because as a viewer, when it comes to reviews and it comes to information, I am very impatient now. And I believe it has something to do with I need the info now. So if I watch a long form review, even though I love the YouTuber, I'm like, oh my God, can you just tell me if the zip closes? Because I need to know. So,
but what is considered a long form review though?
So for me, I think what's going to happen in terms of our kind of content is if you want to give a handbag review, it's got to be really short, like 10 minutes. And it has to be really structured. It has to be say, okay, I'm going to tell you the pros, the cons, what to do, what to see, what to buy, how to buy, where to buy. And it's going to be really condensed because I am looking for now, and where I am, I'm looking for information. So I don't want to read a whole like manual, right? If you get a new equipment, you don't read a thick manual. You want to read like the summary, like, okay, I know how to use it right now. Okay, let's go. But if I were watching, I want to know info, and if it comes to a review, I don't want to listen like too much. But if it was a vlog or if it was a chit chat video, like all of you, it's a podcast. I want to have it in the background. I want to listen to it. I want to pick up things. That's different. So as a viewer, I don't want to watch really lengthy chit-chatty reviews. I want a review that is structured, straight to the point. Give me all the info. Thank you. I love you. But then when it comes to lengthy videos, when it's chit-chatty, I'll watch it if it's half an hour, 45 minutes, because my mindset is it's a chat. It's a sharing. It's experience in a different topic kind of way. And then, of course, I like to watch vlogs. So I think if for my own consumption, because I have become impatient, I don't even want to do reviews. I'm like, because I feel like, oh my gosh, if I'm going to do a review, I must make sure I'm putting it out within 10 minutes, making it really short and snappy.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So which is why content, when it's chit chat, it's so much more easy. But at the same time, I also don't want to listen to a chit chat that's just going on and on and on and on, right? Because it's a bit like, okay, so what influenced some of my chit chat videos is I like to watch, like nobody talked about this, but I love to watch true crime.
Yeah, I thought we couldn't talk about non-luxury because I like to watch disasters on roller coaster videos.
No, we could talk about
I watch the morticians.
Oh, there we go. It's all coming out. All the skeletons all coming out. I love to watch like Bailey Sarian, Mr. Barlin, but their content is like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes 1 hour on just crime. But it's so well structured that even in that 45 minutes, it keeps me like, it's got the retention. So even though I'm listening to a luxury chit chat, if that chit chat was going on and on and on the same point and repeat the same point and come back, I would turn it off as well. So
Yeah. I always find
yeah.
with like unboxings, if I want to do a bag review, I'll do the unboxing video as one, so I can tell the little story, blah blah blah, and then I'll do a review video that's like between 8 and 10 minutes. And I will always, to keep it engaging, I'll be like, with regards to like the phone and what fits in here, I'll get to that in a moment, but blah blah blah, and then I'll get to that bit, and then it'll be done. Those videos always get tons and tons of views for me in the long term, like slow burn views. Like most of my bag reviews are over 10,000 views, and they always get comments later down the track, like your video came up first, watched it, got the bag because of this, done, sort of thing. Versus if I did the story of how I got it and all of that in a 20-minute video, people will be like, I don't give a shit, I just want to know if my iPhone will fit in there. Like, thanks to that, got a bag. So I agree.
Doesn't anyone else get to editing and get bored of themselves? Because I figure if I'm bored of myself in editing, that other people are going to be really bored at that point too. So I need to cut it down. I need to get rid of the waffle because I'm at the end of 20 minutes of editing and, oh my God, am I over this already? So I always judge it by, if I'm bored of myself, that's probably not a good thing to inflict on other people.
No, I'm never bored of myself, Meredith.
I add in bits later because I'm like, there's not enough.
More Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I guess that depends because
through, you're done. Like you go, I need to fix it.
But just to answer Meredith, I think that depends because like the three of you, just from watching what I've watched so far from the three of you, you guys are really good at just like the way you talk is very entertaining. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't have this skill, so I don't even bother. Like I just try to, like sometimes I don't even say hi, my name is Amy. I just jump straight to, I'm like, today this is what I'm going to talk about, because I just don't have that kind of skill. So it's really depending on the personality. I think for you guys, as long as you are okay with the way you presented yourself and, you know, you could leave that bit in the video, other people will appreciate it because that's the skill and the entertainment factor that you're giving to your audience too. For me, I almost never do it. I will find myself boring if I did it because it's just cringe when I hear myself trying to like be more lively or be more, I'm like, I just jump straight to the point basically.
But I guess your selling point with how you talk is like, I believe what you're saying. Like, I'm like, you're quite, like, I believe what you're saying. You're not really like BSing because I can tell you're serious in the way you talk about something. So I'm like, yeah, she knows what she's talking about. I can respect that. I'm connected just by that. Whereas me, people are like, are you being sarcastic or do you actually mean that? I'm like,
and maybe that's why people like to watch you. Like they want to hear that humor side of.
Yeah, so we all have different kind of, but I 100% get what you're saying. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. It's I was when I was listening to everybody, it's true that now all of us are transforming to chit chat videos, and you can see that that's the take up even in the comments when I do a video that's say talking about, I don't know, say future luxury. The comments is the engagement, right? Everybody is giving their opinion. It's like it becomes a platform for viewers to say, oh my gosh, I feel it too. It's like they're trying to share, but if they can't really talk about it as a review, in a review video, they're like, oh, thank you very much. I was just wondering how the zip was. Thank you. That's it. Very information, very, very one time. But with Lux content, where it's chit chats, viewers like express however they listen to it. They're like, oh my gosh, I felt the same thing. You know, I'm glad that you feel the same way. I don't agree with you. So engagement wise, chat videos is definitely the future. Like, at least for the next, I don't know, year, 2 years, then we might change again. Then people are like, can we just see some good old unboxings? Who knows?
Yes.
I'm going to pull this one for you, Meredith. Sorry, Connor. Let me do this. This is a question from Meredith. For the love of bags, you have such a crazy good collection. Which brand is your favorite? Dayle, I know you are all Fendi, and Connor at one point Hermes. Has that changed? What do we do, Meredith, first?
So Louis Vuitton is my first love. It will always be my first love. It's where I like to shop the most. And Hermes would probably come after that for me, just because of the history that I have with Louis Vuitton, and I don't have that long history with Hermes at this point. But yeah, there's fun at Louis Vuitton. There's staples at Louis Vuitton. There's always, sometimes there's far too many new things at Louis Vuitton. But for me, that's the bulk of my collection and where my heart lies at this point.
Wow. What about you, Dayle?
Yeah, Fendi's my favorite for a bunch of reasons, which is no surprise. But I am equally critical of Fendi collections and, you know, Fendi quality as I am about any other brand as well. So I'm tending to pick up a couple of Louis Vuitton bits, Chanel more so pre-loved, because I just don't really gel with the new collections. So all the things that I thought I could never buy, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, I'm now kind of going, oh, I think I could kind of manage that now. So I'm starting to look back a little bit at the pre-loved market and some of the things, I guess, that back in the day, if I could choose one thing from a collection and I could actually get that thing, like that was a win. Whereas now, you know, in retrospect, I guess some of the hype has died down on things and people might be willing to move them on, and the pre-loved market is a good place to shop at the moment. You can get brand new condition, full set pieces. And so those things that I kind of said, oh, you know, I can only have one, so I'm going to choose that and I have to say goodbye to the rest. Now I can actually go looking for those and, yeah, find some treasures. So for me, like, I'll never say no to any, but I really like Fendi pushes the envelope a lot with their textures and materials and their designs. And yeah, I don't buy everything, but it certainly makes me smile. That's for sure.
Nice. What about you, Connor?
Look, I don't even know. If I find myself attracted to like one brand, I retract. Like, I don't like honing in on one thing. I find it too obsessive, and then next thing you know, you've got a freaking Fendi dog leash and a Fendi blanket. Like, it's all. So I'm all.
Are you talking about us, Connor? We were so obsessed with our mess.
It's fine if you are, though.
I don't have a Hermes dog leash yet. I'll get one.
You don't even have a dog, do you?
We don't need to have a dog. You can just get the dog leash.
I was going to say, do Hermes sell dogs yet?
No, I honestly, I find that like I like all different things from brands, all different things. And look, there's a part of me that likes Hermes because they're arrogant and you can't get what you want. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Like, I like all different, you know, if it was easy, I wouldn't want it. Like, who wants that? It would broken. No. I don't know. Like, I fell in love with, I guess, luxury with Hermes because I saw in like Sex and the City, like Samantha couldn't get the bag, so I was like, tell me more, sort of thing. But then, like, as you get older, you realize you're like, I don't want to have to jump through hoops to buy for something. So then you kind of like, I like it, but not that much. Then you move on to something else. Then you go back and forth between stuff. So like, I like all different things. If I see something, I like it, and I'll just get it. I won't be like, well, I only really stick to these kind of brands. I don't want to branch out of that, because then I find you just end up buying stuff that you don't really like. You just kind of got it because the color was what you liked, but you know, there was no other brand that had that color, so you sacrifice, you know. So I don't really stick to one brand. I just like all different things, but I don't hate Hermes like Dayle hates Hermes. So it's a safe place.
I hate Hermes.
You just don't like
She
them.
has shoes. She has belts. She has. It's not a blanket rule. She's
Have accessories.
If I gave you a Birkin for free, you'd be like,
I'd sell it.
yes. No. I will say, when I went to Paris, I did go into the Hermes flagship store, and I was just like, ooh, like, it's, you know, you do kind of, Meredith, make Dayle go in there. She'll probably get the quivers as well.
We should go with me. Yeah.
I'm going to apply for an appointment, Connor. I'm going to win the lottery.
She's going to try and get a bag and then be like, I got a bag from the flagship store and it's on eBay. So
just for the clicks.
I don't care. No matter what people say about Hermes, you've got to admit, like, it's still Hermes. So there's still that kind of. It's like, you know how people hate Donald Trump, but they're still like, he's so crazy that I want to know more. It's like that. So, you know, there's always a spot.
I love that you've compared the most orange man to the orange brand. I'm just going to connect the two now.
But yeah, I just love all things. And if I like something, I like it. And I just, you know, how I roll.
So funny. Okay. Since we're talking about bags already, let me pull this one. Okay. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. Okay. What's the ideal number of bags for a well-established luxury bag collection? And what, you know what? I'm going to start with Meredith for this, actually. So what's the ideal number of bags?
For a well-established luxury handbag collection, the ideal number for someone who is not me would be much less than what I have. So I reckon if you're just starting out and you want some of the staples, then you're probably looking at, I think, 6 to 10 bags. I am not someone who needs to be taken note of when you look at a collection and like, it's stupid I have this many bags. I understand that. I understand that better than anybody, that it's ridiculous I have this many bags. Nobody should have over 400 luxury handbags. I do. But in terms of an ideal number for a normal person, it would be, I think, between 6 to 10. And I am not normal.
6 to 10. Why? Why 6 to 10? What is 6? Well, I mean, why is that number? Why 6 to 10?
I think you can get the ones that you will get the most use out of. So you'll have a tote, you will have a clutch, you will have a crossbody, you will have a travel bag. You will, like, I think 6 to 10 gives you enough in your collection that if you want purse piece, and I'll use that term, that you could easily get that. Like you could have a wok. Like I just think that,
amount, so you're not,
yeah, I think in terms of use, that 6 to 10 would be like the optimal number of meeting all your needs, basically. So that's where my head goes to if you're looking at what the ideal luxury collection would have in it without you needing anything else. But unfortunately, once you're down this rabbit hole of luxury handbags, you're like, oh, pink sequins. I really need pink sequins in my life. You don't, but you think you do.
And you're like 10 to 6 or 26? And you're like, well, 26 times 2 is 50. So I'm like...
Yeah. So I think the ideal number changes based on how far down the rabbit hole you end up.
What about you, Dayle?
Oh, this will surprise Meredith, but like I was thinking all the YouTubers that I've watched who've had massive collections and then downsized, and then they've kind of increased again and they've downsized, and I find that, you know, there seems to be a number between 20 and 30 when I say a well-established luxury handbag collection, because you're beyond your essentials, I think. And then you've got some of your special pieces, like some of your things that you just go, that struck me in the heart. And I need to have it, or I bought that to commemorate a special birthday or whatever, I think. And having choice inside of function, like Meredith said, you know, have a tote. Well, maybe you've got two, like one for travel, one for work, or maybe you interchange them. You got a couple of clutch options, you got a couple of crossbody options, and you just got a few things that you love. Like I've seen people go up and down, and not even curating, just kind of going, there's a heap of things in my collection I don't use. But once they sell those things on, and I can, like, I don't know if I name a few people. So Isabel Style, I remember she went on quite a strategic journey, and then she ended up buying in some fun things again, and then she's gone up, and she's like, oh, I don't know, actually I think I do want to have some fun things. I don't want everything to have purpose and what have you. And I watched that journey with interest, because I guess I'm always reflecting on, you know, what I've got and how often I use it. And then you get tagged in a video, you know, my least used bags, and you're like, should I have this? Should I keep it? Should I sell it? Or is it okay to just own something that I love and use occasionally, because I don't see it as liquid. It's the money's gone already, so why not enjoy? So yeah, I think that kind of 20 to 30 mark gives you your essentials, some things that are just absurd, that you love, some sentimental pieces maybe, and room to grow.
Interesting. Nice. 20, 30. Okay, I've got space. I still got quite a bit to add on. What about you, Connor?
Yeah.
Definitely not bloody 30 bags. I don't know where you guys 30 bags? Well established. I think more 10 to 15.
It didn't say curated. It said well established.
There's not even that many days for Mother's Day. I think, look, I don't know if there's an exact number, but I think if you've got all of your bases covered, there's enough bags so you're not using the same one too often in terms of like wear and getting like the longevity out of it. So I think if you've actually got more bags and you wear them on rotation more frequently, they're going to last longer because you're not going to wear out the same bag a lot of times where you'd ultimately have to pay to get it fixed or replaced or parts on it changed. Like say you have a Neverfull that you just use every single day, eventually the handles will need to get replaced because blah blah blah. So if you've got a few different type of Neverfull style bags and whatnot that you rotate, you kind of going to have 3 bags and get, so I don't know if there's an exact number, but yeah, but you've definitely got to have bags that have literally no purpose. Like they could hold nothing, but you've just got to get it because you've got to have that. Like, I mean, a mini Kelly, what's that holding? Not a lot.
Nothing.
So get 4.
Practically nothing.
It holds your virtue.
Exactly. And hold the card that you've got in there to pay for the bag. That's it. So, but how many people would lust over a mini Kelly and it's not the most practical bag? Like so get 4 of them.
It's an accessory. It's just an accessory. For me, it is because if you want to use it for anything else, because I was just talking to Amy about it last week, I'm like, I fit nothing in this bag, but it's so good.
But when you see it, you're like, give me a mini Kelly. So yeah, just buy whatever you like. Don't think, oh, well, am I going to get that? You're not going to get price and the cost per out of it. Of course you're not. So just buy it. Who cares?
What about you, Amy? What's your ideal number? We've been going up and down.
Yeah, exactly. We've been always talking about this on and off. We get asked this question so many times. And I always used to say, for my personal collection, around 20 would be a good number, like plus or minus, obviously. But I also do agree that it doesn't have to be a fixed number because, in fact, if I wanted to have a well-established luxury collection and if the space and the money budget, all that was no concern, I would feel like a well-established collection for me would be to have at least 2 of each classic of each style from the brands that I like. So just to give you an example, right? Like my current favorite brands are Chanel and Hermes. So in Chanel, I have to have at least the black and the white, or like a black and a dark color and a light color, right? Of the classic flap, say the small size. I also have to have 2 of the mini with a handle. I also have to have 2 of the Chanel 19 and the 22. So like all the classics that I want, I feel like a well-established collection would be to have at least 2 of those colors, always a light color and a dark color, because that's how I like to dress. Like sometimes I'm dressing in all dark colors, sometimes it's light colors, sometimes it's more colors, so I could just either pull the dark or the light color. So 2 of each, and that's just for one brand. Because
you're not asking for much, just 2 of each.
No, but a well-established for me, right? Like sometimes I am more I feel like dressing more like Chanel. The vibe, not head to toe, but just like the vibe that I dress is more Chanel. Other days it's more like not like Hermes, but more just like they call it quiet luxury nowadays. So like more quiet luxury where there's no really branding, but it's just like, it's nice. So on those days, I would want to get an Hermes bag. And so for Hermes, the same thing. Like for the Birkin, 25, Kelly 25, mini Kellys, I want to have at least 2 of those, of each. And to build the collection that way with each of my favorite bags, but at least having 2 of each. And that could be a very big number, but I would guess at least 10 from each brand of my favorite brands. That would still pretty much give me like 20 bags, because if I can get 10 of Chanel bags and 10 of Hermes bags, that's still 20. For me, that would be the perfect collection, and you will never run out of an occasion where you feel like you're missing a bag, because I would have the mini Kelly for the clutch size. I would have the Kelly 25 for the going out with girls, and then the Birkin 25 for whatever, and et cetera, et cetera. So for me, that would be the perfect collection, but this is hard to achieve. Like,
yeah, you can't just
like having 2 of the classic flaps in different colors is hard to achieve unless you have been buying them. Nowadays, at the prices that they are now, it's not that it's impossible, but is it wise?
Yeah,
that's the question. Yeah,
Interesting. I see some comments as well. Most people agree. I see some of this 20. Catherine saying, I think it was 20, and I got to 34. It seems ridiculous. Clara's here. Hi, Clara. 15 to 20 is a good number. I think for me, I've brought my collection down to, I think 12 bags, 12 or 13 bags right now.
Wow.
Meredith's like, what?
do you feel like it's a well-established ideal number right now?
No, actually, I feel like I'm missing things. So like I try to go out now because everything is open in Singapore. So sometimes I'll go out for dinners and I feel like I keep using the same bag. Like this green Bottega bag that I have every time I'm going out with the girls. It came to a point where I was like, I don't want to use you because you're boring. But I love you. But I wanted that variety because it's so condensed now that it's either my Bottega green mini pouch or my mini Kelly, and I'm like, I mean, like, come on. So I think I have made it so curated that now, because I love handbags, I feel like I am lacking that variety. So though I know I may not get a lot of use out of every single bag, but if I go into, say, maybe 20 bags, 20, 25, I don't think I'll ever go up to 30, because when I had 20 over bags, I kind of felt overwhelmed. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not using them. So between where I am now to the number that I felt overwhelmed, that I think for me is a good number, because it gave me a few extra bags that were random, that I know that I didn't need to use, but if I had the occasion, I had this special bag to use. And my mindset now is that I think I'm okay with it. Maybe that time when I was downsizing, I felt really bad with the pandemic and all that, like, oh my gosh, I'm not using my bags, money sitting on the shelf, da 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 da. But now that I've downsized, it's so confusing. Like,
it's
like where are my bags? Where are my bags? I need bags.
I equate it when you go to, like, say you love a certain restaurant and you always eat at that same restaurant, and then you get to a point where you're like, nah, I've got to try something new. So then you would switch restaurants, which I would equate to switching the bag. So I think don't confuse using the same bag as like my other bags are redundant, because you will go through those cycles with anything. So, you know, you can use the same bag 5 times when you go out to see your friends. It doesn't mean the other ones you're not using them. It just means they'll get their turn. So
yeah, they'll get their turn. But now I'm at a point that I only eat at this restaurant. I'm like,
you bought the restaurant.
I can't.
This is like Sex in the City, where she has chicken and broccoli. You know, the Chinese restaurant, they know her order back to front because she just orders the same thing every night.
Yeah. So I think for a person who loves bags, I mean, if you have a collection that you just want to use a bag, that you want a nice bag, I think the mindset is different. But if you love bags and you want the bag to bring something to your whole outfit, your whole, you're carrying that special something, you cannot have chicken and broccoli every single time. You need that variety. So I'm starting to realize it now because maybe in the past, maybe 6-7 months when I was collecting the Hermes, it was still okay. And I was, one track mind, right? Get the bag. But then now that I want to use a variety, because I can't be using my Hermes bags all the time. It's just too much. So then when I switched to the other bags, I'm like, oh no, I've only got this one green bag. I've only got this one green
Broccoli bag.
Oh my God, a broccoli bag. And
that's why you need a different color too of the same bag. If you enjoy that bag, it's okay to use it. But I always find out having at least 2 colors.
Yeah,
Green,
what
the
if I had a
dark,
different,
and
maybe
the
a black
white.
of that? Exactly.
I think that's the differentiator, Kat. I think because you don't just like, there's people who get luxury bags and they use it for the practical reasons, and then there's people who just love luxury items, so then they don't care if it's practical or not, they just want it. So I think we're probably all in that second category. So
it's the both. It's like you want to be practical, but as you love bags, so you can either be on the extreme side, right? You really just love bags, but then at the end you still want it to be functional, so you don't want it to be like too much. But yeah, so anyway, I think 20 bags for me, 20 to 20, I think 25 will be a good number. Anything above that, I might feel a little overwhelmed. I don't know, but yeah.
how many do you have now? 12.
12 or I think with my mini Khalid's 13. It's so small.
Well, let's take this question then. There's actually
little.
2 questions that are related to this topic. How many bags do you each have in your collection? I have 40 plus. Don't get out much. Perhaps I should downsize, and I love them all.
Hi, Jenny. Jenny's from Adelaide in Australia, and she's a absolutely lovely woman who supports all of our channels. I did my last collection video, I think. Was it December? And I had 39 bags, and I have a video idea in my Remarkable, a blank page called "Bags I've Bought So Far This Year," and then it's got the emoji that looks like this. Because I don't want to make that video because I'm scared. So at last count 39, but I don't know. Meredith?
I don't have a true count because it changes almost daily. I believe I'm sitting somewhere about 400 at the moment, and I've just gotten an email to say that my Louis Vuitton order is ready to collect. So, like I said, it might change daily, and some of them are out with consigners to sell on. So there's always flux in my collection, but I'm a collector, like a true collector. So I come at it a little bit differently.
Yep. Because you're looking at your bags like it's like art, right? People collect art, and sometimes they have so many pieces they can't even keep in their house. They rent it out to it. I know an ex-colleague. He loves art. He has so many pieces in the house. He just collects them up to a point where he has to keep them at the art, like actually the studio, because he has so many pieces. He goes, I like this, buy. But they are investments for him, and it just loves it. Because for me, I'm like, where do you display them? He said, no, it doesn't matter. I love art, so I can understand.
Yeah, your brain is wired differently with that. And sometimes it's just that one thing it's wired differently for, and sometimes you might collect a few different things. But I think I'm obsessive compulsive as well, so I find it really hard to get past that. It's not just something you can switch off. So yeah, you just wired a little bit differently.
400.
Connor?
Wow.
I just counted before, and I think there's 2 in my room. I think I have 12.
So you and Kat are the same number.
I thought I had 8. Yeah. For some reason, I don't know.
And you've got your made to order coming.
Yeah, and I have my Fendi made to order coming.
Ooh.
In August, apparently. I'll believe it.
It's
But
Italy
yeah.
time, Connor. It's whenever we can be bothered.
I know. But even that, thinking that, I look at it all and I'm like, we could add a few more.
Yeah.
You have the
That's
space.
That's how I'm feeling, Connor.
I have all this room to fill, so there's heaps.
You can make space.
Yeah, it's not a room. It's not a availability of space thing. It's just like, yeah. But I find I'm really picky now. I'm like, nah. Like I have to really like. No, otherwise, I just look at everything all the same. So, which is good, but.
How many do you have, Amy? Because I have.
Well, I was just
12,
counting
13.
as you guys were talking, and I tried to count it at least twice to make sure I got it right. And I am including like the tiny little ones, you know, the nano bags. So I'm counting those too, and it's 20. So I am at my perfect number right now. But you know, we all know that's gonna change, right? Because I am still after bags. I have at least 2 on my wish list right now that I am trying to work on this year. So that will change. But my number doesn't vary that much. Because I'm not a collector, I want to be able to rotate all my items. So I've always sort of kept it around between 20 and 30. And yeah, it hasn't changed since the last time I said it was 20, I think. But I just made sure to count that it was 20. So yeah, it's still 20.
You know, it will come.
Although I didn't count. Okay, we should get this question too. I didn't count the contemporary brands, so I didn't count the Longchamp, like the Coach and all those things. I didn't count those.
Okay.
Did you count those, Dayle, in your 39?
She doesn't have them.
Sorry.
I've got a video coming on that.
I don't have any of those, any contemporary brands.
No, I used to.
You've got Longchamp. Hang on a minute. Connor, you have Longchamp bags.
Oh, I've got 2 Longchamp. Oh, 2. Yeah, 2.
Yes.
The one you got me, and then I have a tote, which I do. I actually do use the tote for work, and obviously the one that you got me, I used. But like, that's it.
So starting from Connor, can you name 1 or 2 of your favorite contemporary brands?
He doesn't like any.
You don't like it. Okay.
So it's not that I don't like them. I just would never go and buy them. And I've spoken about this in videos in like I think it was like Luxury Compromises. Like I won't see a contemporary brand's version of a bag that Louis Vuitton has and be like, oh, sweet, I can get the Longchamp version or the Coach version and for like a quarter of the price. I just won't get either if I can't afford the Louis Vuitton version. It's just how I work. I've definitely got like the Longchamp bag that I did buy. It was because it was in like blue and I wanted that blue, and I wanted a bag when it's like torrential raining that I can just put for work, chuck my stuff in and not worry about. But apart from that, I don't have any contemporary brands. I look at websites like, say, Coach, for example, and I'm like, please be something there that I can just say, oh, this is really cool. And I'll like scathe through the website and I'm like.
It's fair. You don't have to like them.
But I don't dislike them, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't see someone with a Coach bag and be like, like I just for me, I'm like, it just doesn't tick the box. It doesn't do anything for me.
How about Dayle?
I don't shop anymore because I know I've I learned early on that I don't use them. I'll always choose even though I can justify not using my luxury bags, I don't use them, but I do buy. I guess, what did Steph call it in her video the other day? Low luxury, and even that is a controversial term.
Low level.
I called it low luxury. Steph in Handbagaholic, she said like Polen and Aspinall and Mulberry, and I'm like, okay, if I think about that, I would go J.W. Anderson. I would go like my Gary, my pigeon bag. Lafsha, which is like a Dubai-based designer. I would say it's luxury, but it's not popular luxury. So it's expensive, but it doesn't have it's not owned by Louis Vuitton. And they do all perspex clutches and they're very artistic and whatever. Jimmy Choo. I when I bought my Jimmy Choo bonbon bag for Meredith's wedding, I was like, is it luxury? I know Jimmy Choo is a luxury brand, but are their bags considered as such? So, like, I've never been one for tears, but I think that they are brands in my collection that are different to the normal. I wouldn't say I don't know if they're contemporary or not. Like, is Jacquemus contemporary, or is it low luxury? Or I don't know. Like, I think it gets a bit messy when we categorize brands based on how much they cost or whatever. In terms of what's talked about, I definitely find I'm getting a hell of a lot in my recommended videos on Coach and Aspinall and Pauline, and Senrev's gone, thank God.
It's gone?
Bye. Well, no one talks about them anymore.
Oh, I thought the brand was gone.
Yeah,
I don't know the brand.
Okay.
Though.
I don't know. Could be.
No, there's a store in Singapore. There is a store in Singapore. Yeah, like
well,
a
then
pretty
marketing
big
works
one.
then.
So
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, as Connor said, if I'm captivated by something, it's usually because of it's that thing. It's not because I want that type of thing for a cheaper price. It's because I want that. So my Dior wicker bag, I wanted that bag. I would not go and buy the Coach version of that bag because it made better financial sense, which it would. And it does the same job functionally. For some reason, that is not a criteria that I just won't buy it.
Yeah, I'd rather go with that.
And it's not anything other than I like that, and I don't want to settle for anything other than that. And if I can't have that, I have nothing. I'm not buying for function or responsibility. I'm just indulging. I think that's what I need to say in summary. It's just an indulgence. It's not anything more than that.
Yeah, if you can't have the bag, these are the bags, your hands, you're carrying all your stuff. Because
it serves no purpose in my life. Like, there's no reason for me to have this, I think.
how about Meredith? Do you have a favorite contemporary brand that you like?
So for me, I have had contemporary brands. Like, I had a whole heap of Aspinall of London bags, and Connor sold them off for me through his Conrad's Closet consignment business. And they're beautiful, beautiful bags. Like, there's nothing wrong with them.
You know where they all went to Canada.
Yeah, and they're really popular. From a quality perspective, they're stunningly beautiful. I didn't feel about them the same way as I feel about the rest of my bags, because when you collect at this kind of like amount, if you don't have an emotional attachment to it, then it really is pointless having it sit there. Like, you have to be emotionally attached to it. So they're a great brand, but I no longer have anything from them. I have like one Bottega bag. I have one Mulberry bag. I've got a couple of Burberry bags. I do actually like Longchamp, but that's not because I'm using that rather than buying it at a high level. It's because what they make works for what I need it to do. So like their Lit Pelage, I can never say it, bags, like the tote bags that pack down, they're really handy. They serve the function that they're there for. And Louis Vuitton isn't making that in like the nylon, so I'll buy the Longchamp one. So if I'm buying from the brand, it's for a reason, like it serves a specific function for me. But what this conversation has taught me is that one of us 5 need to do a video about a glossary of terms and what things mean, because I'm like,
I've made it. I've already started making that. It's the alphabet of luxury. I've literally started making that.
Perfect.
Like glossary,
what's a contemporary brand?
And all of this stuff I have, and every time I find a word, I add it in there. So it's taken me 3 months so far, but it's coming.
That's a lot of terms.
Yeah, but I think that'd be a great evergreen video for a lot of people who are entering the luxury community, because you get confused. Like, we're here and we're confused. Look, what's a luxury brand? What's not a luxury brand? So I think that'll be a great video, Connor.
It's debatable though, because I mean, contemporary. Do you think somebody said Jimmy Choo is luxury? Maybe Mulberry is luxury, but somebody said it's contemporary.
I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. Like, what one person's luxury may not be another person. So that's why I think that blanket tiering and blanket rules probably isn't going to serve anyone. I think it's more just like their brands, and what you consider them to be is what you consider them to be. So yeah, but I'm with Meredith with what you said about like Longchamp stuff. Like they serve that purpose, and there's no other kind of brand that does it. So that's why. Like, what other bag can you fold down and clip into like a little thing like that? So yeah, like I think that's the way to go. But yeah, each to their own. Whatever people like, they like. But my version of luxury is obviously going to be different to somebody else's, and vice versa.
What about you, Amy? Do you like any contemporary brands?
You know, I have 2 brands of contemporary bags that I buy often, and the reason why I buy them is because they are made of nylon. Like, I'm not gonna go to Prada and buy a Prada nylon backpack because those are not bags that I wear very often, but I will wear them for travel, for like special trips and things like that. But I don't want to buy a Prada one. So the 2 brands that I really enjoy their nylon products are Longchamp and Le Sport Sac. Those are the 2 brands that I have many fun, like a pretty fun collection of. I think I have like a dozen bags from each of those brands. And yeah, it's mostly for the functionality, but also because none of the luxury brands make them as good as they are. Like I don't particularly, I think of the luxury brands that I can think of, Prada is probably the top one that make nylon bags that are decent, but I don't want to spend Prada money for that kind of bag, you know what I mean? So I'm totally happy with Longchamp and the Sport Sac. They're actually amazing, and they have a lot of fun colors and collaborations, and they actually last a long time too. For the money that you pay for, it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Agree. I think the same as you, and I don't go seeking out contemporary brands. Like Connor, you said, I don't go, and if I were to go and check out Coach, which I did a few months ago, I walk in, I take a look, I'm like, I don't know if I want to put my money, even though it's not like a LV or Chanel or Hermes, but it's still a few $100s here on a mini speedy look-alike. They have decent bags, and I know they make really good quality bags, but they don't give me what I'm looking for, which I don't even know what I'm looking for. I want to feel good with my bags. I want to know that like this is the bag that I want to spend my money on. So I just don't want to buy these bags anymore because they like, I think what Maria said is, they take me away from using the bags that I have actually put a lot of thought into making, buying them, like Hermes or Chanel. And then why do I want to buy a Coach bag? Oh my God, I don't want to do that anymore. So
cheap. Like even our 3 currencies are probably pretty on par with each other. They're like $900 or $1,000 for a Coach bag.
Exactly. Yeah. So if they were like Longchamp, $100, I trash them. It's totally different conversation again. It's totally different conversation. I use my Longchamp bags. I love them. But if I'm going to put like $800, $900 or $1,000 on a LV look-alike, it doesn't make sense to me anymore. I'm like, why would I want to do that? Because I know I would rather carry my other bags. I'm buying it just because it looks like and it's slightly cheaper. So yeah, done that.
I actually have a video coming on this topic, Kat. It's called Bag Creep. It's like lifestyle creep, where you automatically, because you can and you have this experience and you've had this creep, and you've had so much experience with different bags and brands and things, now that you don't look anywhere else but that direction, because you can. And when the time comes that you can't, or it's not a priority for you, you won't. But when you can, you do. And I think that's just something that we've got to be conscious of. And I know that in myself now, whether it's for function or whether it's for play, I'm still looking in one direction. And it may be irresponsible and it may not be financially savvy and all that jazz, but that's where I'm at. And it's not it's not harming anyone, and it brings me a lot of joy. So I think just acknowledging that can happen. And I find a lot of people who start buying luxury and they, share on the DMs and Instagram go, oh my God, I've literally just bought my first baguette and now I'm already looking at another one. I'm like, I warned you. Like, it happens to all of us. Yeah. Exactly. Like, it happens. Before you know it, you're down that rabbit hole. And
like, Amy,
I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Like, it's not a bad thing.
I was going to say, Amy, what mug are you drinking out of? Is that from...
Sorry, what? I couldn't hear.
What cup are you drinking out of?
Oh, what cup? Oh, Hermes cup.
Of course.
The dog's next.
The water tastes better. I'm just kidding. But it does in a way because you are enjoying the cup. So you're enjoying the experience, therefore the water tastes better.
I'll enjoy a dog better with a dog, Hermes dog color. The dog's gonna be cuter. Okay. We've only gotten through 2 questions. Okay,
that's what I told you, Kat. I was like, there's no way we can go through 6 topics in 2 hours because it's going to take 40 minutes per topic.
Yeah, I know. We know. We're prepared. We're over-prepared. Okay, let's do this one. Are looks the most important thing in luxury content creation? Okay, if you don't present the look and lifestyle people associate with having what you have, do you not have any credibility? It's a good question, this one. Let's start. Connor, let's go with you again.
No, I don't think so. I
don't present a luxury lifestyle. Look at me. I'm in my spots, bro.
Sorry, what did you say, Dayle?
I said, thanks for going first.
No, I think that goes hand in hand with the quiet luxury BS. Like, that means, if you have luxury stuff, you've got to have a big house and a pool and drive a Maserati, and like, that's ridiculous. So I think no. But in saying that, like, don't just come up on the camera and be like, this is my bag, and like be a swab. But no, you don't. No, absolutely not. You don't need to present the look and life and emulate all of this stuff just to have a Louis Vuitton Speedy. No. Do you guys agree?
Dayle?
I would like to say no, but I think it absolutely is important if you want to be successful in luxury content creating, for sure. Yeah. And a lot of nasty comments come from people who will point to the fact that certain things don't align, whether it's, Meredith will get a comment on her shelving system. I get a comment on the fact that my wardrobe looks like a St. Vinny's thrift shop. Like, oh, that's not luxury. Like, you should be curated and have a clean background. And I'm like, yeah, and where are you typing this message from in your little hovel? Like, seriously. But I think it's important, if you want this to be a money spinner for you, that people want to see the dots connect. They want to see that you don't just buy bags, that you look at the big luxury content creators, Tamara and Erica's getting there, Lydia and Joyce, like those people, it's the whole package. And that is why they get sent products to sell to their audience, because it's a part of the whole package. So if you want to create content, you want to make money from it, you're going to have collaborations and brand deals. You're going to get that if you have the whole package. But in saying that, I do know that a lot of people start YouTube, or don't start YouTube, I should say, because they're worried that they'll be judged based on, oh, I'm not a 24-year-old trust fund baby that's buying the latest Chanel bag every season. And so will people even want to listen to me? And I'm happy to say that most of the people that I know on YouTube are around my age group, who have just gone, you know what? I want to see more people like me on YouTube. I think I can relate to them. And there's a lot of women now, and I don't know too much about, well, Jean, but there's a lot of people in that age group now between, say, 35 and over who've recently started YouTube channels and are getting really great momentum because they connect with a whole audience that's been watching people who they don't necessarily connect to, but they love the bags, you know. So I think it's not that it's not looks per se, but I think your looks obviously, you know, reflect your age and where you live, and
it's relatable.
It's relatable. People want to see themselves, I think. And I don't think you have to be a supermodel, but if in reality, the big channels that do really well, yes, looks are a part of it. You know, they can go and buy luxury ready to wear, and they can engage in a different level than people that can't. So
You're
I
a
do
supermodel,
think.
Dayle.
So this question is from Meredith. So what do you think? Do you think it for you? When did you start YouTube?
So I'm not quite 13 months in. So I'm just over 12 months in. So I asked this question because I was shocked by how much negative feedback I got about things that I didn't care about, that clearly people couldn't quite cope with drawing that line from, but you have this, but you don't have that. So yes, the palette racking behind me has been a bone of contention since I started. And I'm about to have this space behind me built out with nicer cabinetry, but I am literally only doing that to appease the masses because I don't care. Like the rest of this room is all palette racking because that's what is functional for me. But people will often say, well, how can you put such beautiful bags on such horrible shelving? And I'm like, but it's storage and the bags are inanimate objects and they don't know what they're sitting on. So why does anybody care? But clearly people care. They think that I'm not credible in what I have because I didn't bother to put nice shelving in for them to sit on. But for me, it doesn't make any difference. I don't care. So it was just such an interesting thing for me. And Dale's right. When you look at the really big luxury content creators, they have the whole package. They go with the whole lifestyle. They've got to present the whole lifestyle. And to me, it looks exhausting, but go them. But yeah, I just feel like I've seen comments floating around like, oh, you're presenting these beautiful bags and your backdrop is horrible. You barely made your bed. And then they're like, but I'm renovating at the moment. Like I didn't care, but clearly people think that you should always turn out your best face or if you're doing luxury content. Even I've just seen a comment pop up from Maria about if you're unboxing Hermes all the time, but you can't even name the leathers. So for me, it's like, but you might not be able to name the leathers. You might just walk into Hermes and go, this bag appeals to me. I don't know it's Berenia Forberg, or I don't know it's Togo leather. But if I don't know that, that doesn't make me credible to you because I can't name it. You can't just like something. You've got to present a whole package all the time. And I find it exhausting sometimes. Like, I don't know about anyone else, but sometimes I really do feel it's exhausting to have to present a certain way and not just go, I really like this, bright and shiny. Isn't it lovely?
Very good. I think for me, it's the whole part of if you want to be successful, it's that the look that we present on YouTube does lead to that. Because if you, like what Connor said, if you look slobbish, but you have all these amazing things, unfortunately, most of us want to see something that looks good. So a lot of viewers want to see that nice aspirational backdrop and lifestyle. There is also that curiosity to it as well. Like, how did he, and that brings people back. Like, how did she afford that? How did she, wow, look at her house. People are just nosy and curious. So when you present the whole package, it does help the channel. So if you're looking at it from that, growth side, but if you are not, that's not your ultimate goal. I mean, it's great to grow, but if that's not your ultimate goal to be a Tamara and all, then the relatability part would play a better, factor to the growth of the channel, because not everyone can have that lifestyle, right? And up to a point where you kind of feel like maybe it's a bit fake. So the relatability, so it's quite extreme. You either be very relatable, or you have this this out of the world lifestyle that people can only imagine, or they're very curious or nosy or even jealous about. So I think most of us fit on the maybe relatable side. Like, wow, how did you do that? They're curious and they can see them in you. And if they like your personality, bonus as well.
Yeah.
It's funny when you said that about, you know, like what kind of lifestyle you present. Is it fake? I remember looking at a Instagram picture of Tamara in some amazing location, and she's sitting there with her massive plate of pasta in front of her about to eat it. And I'm like, you aren't eating that. There is no way you're putting that in your mouth.
I don't, but all those, I think it all, like, I never get mean comments. I never get comments about anything other than positive. The only times I will get comments, which relates to what you were saying, Meredith, about, like, you know, if you don't know the leather type, is when I would pronounce something incorrectly. So insane about that. They're like, you said it wrong. How can you talk about this when? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to learn French so I can talk about a bag name. Like, why would I do that?
Can I tell you something about the language thing? So I actually am fluent in French. I was born and raised in Montreal. I've lived 30 years there. So I spoke French there every day. And so when I pronounce names in French properly, people think that I'm trying to be a snob and trying to pretend that I'm saying words in an exotic way and that this and that. So either way, you cannot please everyone. There are always going to be naysayers and haters out there that are going to find anything to ridicule you or to just make you feel bad, whether you do it the right way or the wrong way. Like, I am saying things in a right way, and I am told that, why are you pretending to speak French as if you can speak French? Well, because I do, you know, like, but I don't have to explain to those people, because
exactly.
It's like, why you cannot argue with unreasonable people. So it's pointless. So going back to what Meredith was saying too, like those nasty comments, right? When I read your question the first time, and I was thinking about, first of all, to answer the first question, are looks the most important thing for luxury content creating? No. But the second part, when I read about, do you not have credibility if you're not really like presenting yourself in such way, right? The whole look and the lifestyle. Are we thinking credibility in terms of like how successful you are? Because are we equating credibility to how successful, or at least the image of the success? Because if that's the case, then it's not going to be everyone, right? Like, a lot of people enjoy luxury whether they have that lifestyle or not. And so credibility is more about, in my opinion, is about what you're sharing, like is there value in what you're sharing? So to me, when I look for luxury content, I want to know the pros and the cons and things that people don't know if they don't have the bag. That's what I want to know. And if they are able to share that, that's credibility to me. I don't care how they look like. In fact, they all come in all forms of all shapes and sizes. So I don't know how people see me. Like, I'm just thinking about how, like, I personally like to dress up. Doesn't mean that I always do, but I personally like to dress up. But I do it for me, not to be credible, if that makes sense. So in a way, I feel like it is what it is. Like, the reality is that people will always judge based on your looks. Believe it or not, I was called many names on how I look, and it's just incredible. But at the same time, I know it's not something that you can argue with, because you can never argue with the unreasonable. And so it's sort of like, yeah, it's very hard. Like, this is, because luxury is such a niche like on the grand scheme of thing, right? On the whole YouTube land, luxury is such a small little niche inside the whole YouTube land that the people that watch it are very specific people. But of course, you see random people come onto your channel just because they're curious. They're probably just curious about what you're about to talk about or unbox. And those are the people that you don't need to worry whether they think you're credible or not, because they don't even matter. They're not even supposed to be here. So
like, what are you doing watching my video? Go
exactly.
away.
Why are you watching if you cannot afford
One
it?
view from the
Or
podium.
this and that. Like, there's just so many. Like, what does my brow have to do with the bag? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are the kind of comments that make no sense. And even if I can say the words properly in French, I still get told that I'm not saying it properly. So who the like, I will never go and correct Kat every time she says a word and it's
A mess.
incorrect. Like, I
mess.
would never like I'm
Hermes.
not the language police, and so aren't the viewers either. They are not language polices. And like, I don't care who you are, whether you're a doctor or this or that, we're just all human. So I mean, unless you're talking about fake bags and this and that, and then no, you're not credible. But then I don't watch those people anyway. So yeah.
You can
That's
talk
so
French for us any day.
Oh, thanks.
But
I'll
your
just say
French
the
is
way I
slightly
say
different
it, but I
though,
will never
right?
force someone else to, you know? Like, someone else will have their way of saying it because they're just used to, or they just can't say. Like, you wouldn't believe how many times I would like repeat myself for my husband to say a certain word because they don't speak French or Chinese, and they still cannot make it right. It doesn't matter because you don't have that practice and you didn't grow up with it. So that's fine. They're not any less of anybody just because they can't say those words. You know what I mean?
Sorry, Amy, your French is Quebec. It's
Yeah,
slightly,
Quebec French. Yeah.
it's slightly different. That's what I there was a video that came up. They said that the French in France and your French, there is a slight difference in tone.
Yeah, well, it's just like Australian English is different from Canadian and American and Singapore English, but you still understand each other.
Mine
Even
is
when
not
I was
English.
even when I was in Paris and in one of my vlogs, the two Fendi sales associates, they were in it, but they were talking. One of the girls, she was born in France, grew up there her whole life. The other girl, she'd come from Brazil, but she had learned French in Brazil, and there were certain things that they were trying to talk about to tell me, and they couldn't agree on. They're like, no, it's not that, it's this, and she was like, I don't know what that means, and it was like, so even even in French with people who can speak French fluently,
Yeah.
you can't get it right. Just like even
It's
in
true.
Australia, different states here, we call things different. So it's the same thing.
But the general gist of it, you can still understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some terms that don't exist. Like, there are some slangs that don't exist in both parts of like Quebec. And I mean, French is like spoken in so many different places outside of France too. It's also in Africa, in Vietnam. Like, they all have their own way of speaking it. But in general, if they're talking to me, I will get like 90% of it, and they will probably get 90% of what I'm trying to say. Like, we'll still understand each other. Like, if I didn't know what going to the loo means, I still know what trying, like, you know, you'll still figure it out eventually. You know what I mean?
True. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay, let's go. Oh my God, half an hour.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Number 4. Okay, if you have a chance, this should be pretty quick. Okay, so if you had a chance to redo your entire collection now, what's the first thing you would get and why? Let's do Dayle. Dayle, put you on a hot seat.
The first thing I would get, my entire luxury collection. Okay, well, I'm not going to get a bag. So I will get a watch. And
Nice.
I didn't get a watch until recently because I had this thing where I thought when my watch stopped on the way to Fiji that it was a sign from God to say that I didn't need to worry about time anymore. Anyway, long story. But a watch is very handy because when you look at your phone for the time all the time, it looks a bit rude. So yes, the first thing I would buy is a watch. I don't know if I'd buy the watch that I have. Like I just got the Cartier tank in the stainless steel. Beautiful watch, easy to wear. But I guess if I was new to luxury, yes, that would be what I chose. So yes, I'd buy a watch.
What about you, Meredith? What would you buy first? If you
I'm
had to
buying
do
a
everything
Neverfull.
again.
I'm getting a Neverfull. It meets so many requirements. I can carry it for work. I can carry it every day. I can carry it to travel. It's durable. It's about to become a whole heap harder to get. But I'm getting a Neverfull. I'm going with whatever's going to work for me in most situations, and I'm going to get a lot of use out of.
Nice. I never thought you would get a never. I mean, that would be a first choice. Neverfull. Yeah, good one. What about you, Connor?
My puzzle bag, I love it. Every time I use it for work. It wasn't even meant to be a bag that I would take to work, but I use it like every single day. People always are like, oh wow, I love, like, where's this bag? Like they don't know obviously about like the brands and stuff like that, but that it's like a conversation starter with people all the time. And yeah, I just love it.
It's quite luxury.
It's cool.
Yeah, I just like, it's just one of those bags that, you know, it just works. It all, you know, I just love taking it. I love using it. And, you know, when people compliment your stuff, even if they know nothing about it, it makes you love it more. So,
Right. Nice. I've always wanted to get a Loewe bag, but I'd never, maybe one day.
They're a bit whimsical. Like a lot of the stuff they have, I'm like, it's so like hippie and like new agey. Like I look at it and I'm like, this is all weird. But then the puzzle bag, I don't think of it as a representation of like Loewe stuff. I think it's a bit different. So that's probably why I like it, because
It's like their classic.
Yeah, it's like their classic. Yeah, and mine's in like a classic color. My small one is in a classic color, anyways. So I would just always get it again. And now that's gone up $2,000 since when I bought it, even better.
Wow.
And when you think about what Jonathan Anderson is doing at both Loewe and his own label, like it is weird. All of his designs are so unique and interesting.
They're weird. He's weird.
Yeah.
But whatever. It works.
It does.
How about you, Amy? What would you get first?
I was torn between two things because at first I was just thinking bags. So if it was a bag, I was thinking about the Chanel Mini with the top handle, even though that one is going to be extremely hard to get it back in the caviar. But truly, this is, you know, Chanel being my favorite, like it really is my favorite brand in terms of the aesthetic. That's the bag that I grab a lot when I don't really know what to wear. And I also like it small so I can travel and also go to like evening functions with it. But if it wasn't a bag, I wanted to say my bracelet, because this bracelet has exceeded my expectation. This is the Tiffany lock bracelet.
Ah, yes, that's cool.
Like I just love the idea that with a fine gold bracelet, especially one that is more chunky in statement, you know, I wear it 24/7, and so it's totally already worth the cost per wear, just, you know, since the day I had it. And it's never really gonna wear and tear except a few scratches, which to me is not a big deal. Like bags wear and tear as well, but you know, with the mini caviar, that it does wear and tear, but it's still gonna look so good in 10 years time, you know what I mean? So like between the two, I honestly couldn't choose. If I could have both, I suppose.
You can have both. For me, I'm gonna go with jewelry. Like if I had to do everything again, I love bags, but what I know now is that I get so much more joy from having my jewelry pieces. And it took me a while to get here, but I would totally buy the love bracelet from the store. I got mine pre-love, but I would get this because I wear my other bracelet. This is my nomination bracelet, which I got from Australia when I was 21. And yay. And I've had this on my wrist for, 20 over years. And it shows me that I can actually I really, really enjoy it. So whereas for bags, I've already cycled through so many different bags, and
Yeah.
and it changes. My needs change. My style changes. Some things I don't like anymore, and maybe now I do like them. But with jewelry, I think it really is a staple. So if I had to do everything again, I would totally buy my love bracelet from the store. And I think you
Yeah.
just got a love bracelet, didn't you, Dayle?
I did. I got
Nice.
the thin with diamonds. I fell for it.
You're gonna love it because
I do love it.
Yeah, it's on your wrist all the time. It adds that little bit of something.
Yeah. I agree with you on jewelry. Like, I've never been tempted to sell off something I'm not wearing. And I have a lot of fine jewelry, and I don't tend to buy luxury house fine jewelry because I just like, I don't know, I'd never considered it as something that was trendy before. I think that was my whole problem. But then, as Amy said, luxury YouTube is a niche. And so when you're in that niche and you're fully absorbed, I guess you see things a lot more frequently than you do in the wild. And
Yep.
I did all the research and I looked around, and I hadn't gotten to the point where I'd been in yet. And as soon as I went in and they had my size in every combination, like, it was so easy to make an informed decision because I'd been everywhere else. I'd been to Bulgari, I'd been to Kanturi, I hadn't been to Chimay, and there are a few others that I wanted to see, but I think that was just me pushing myself outside of the norm. And I'm like, why? Like, it's good because it's great because it works. And I think Connor wearing his every day when he had his was like, yeah. And then I had a reason to get it, and then I was like,
Mine taught me that I don't connect with jewelry. Like I was in love, like nothing against I wore my love bracelet every day for 2 years. And by the end of it, I looked at it like, oh, like I don't like I like it, but I'm just like, it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I just didn't have that connection with jewelry. So I don't know if it was because it was a love bracelet or it's just, I'm just not a jewelry person. But I've never worn jewelry. Even, you know, when like I was christened, like baptized, and you get like the baptism bracelet thing. My mum was like, even as a kid, you would take it off, like you wouldn't wear it. And I'm like, maybe because I was just rebelling against the church back then. No. No, I don't know, but I sold someone messaged me and was like, oh, can I buy it? And I sold it. Like, I got it mine pre-loved from somebody basically brand new, and then somebody bought it for like a massive profit from what I paid. So it just made sense to get rid of it. But I love the look of it and everything about it, but I don't think I have a relationship with jewelry. I just look at it like whatever. But I wish I did, because, like, you know.
Well, it's good that you know, because I didn't know for many years whether I would be okay to wear a piece of jewelry 24/7, which is why it took me so long to buy my first bangle. Like, everyone has it on the luxury YouTube land. I'm the only one who didn't have it. I think similar to Dayle, you were talking about not buying the high end, like the high luxury brand, right? So like for me, for the longest time, I didn't know if I could live with something on my arm 24/7 without removing it. So this was my guinea pig. And now I know that I can, but only for bracelets and necklaces, because earrings, my ears are super sensitive. I've always had this issue with earrings. So earrings I always have to remove. But it's good that you know that you can't have, maybe it's just that your body doesn't like to have something on 24/7. That's probably why.
Well, I wore it for so long, and I was like, I didn't even know it was on half the time. Like, even when I would sleep, and I sleep with my hand under the pillow and everything, and like I never noticed it was on, but I just looked at it and I was like, do I really need to be wearing something that's like $10,000 on my wrist that I don't really care about? Like, it didn't make sense. So I had the reverse relationship. But look, if someone gave one to me for free, I would keep it. It was more just the fact I was like, someone wants to buy it, I don't really love you that much anymore. It was a mutual breakup, but but
imagine you end up with a lover and they give you a love bracelet and you're like, oh, I've had one of these before.
Yeah, I don't want an engagement ring. I want like a Rolex or something to.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we have that means Karine. So we've answered this actually, Karine.
Yes.
What do y'all think about mid-price luxury brands like the Millier? What is that? The Millier? The Millier. And
Is it
Esplanade of
Millier?
London. The Millier. Okay, so we've talked about it. We are all we prefer the
Not those brands.
not these brands. I don't know how to put it.
I don't know that other brand. Is it Demillier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steph
Is it
from
French
her
though?
colleagues been
Let me
talking
look it
about
up.
it.
I mean, they're good quality bags, but we all agree that we passed this in a way. We'll rather look for something else. So, all right.
Designed in London, handcrafted in Spain. So it's English. It's a London brand.
Aspinall is, yeah.
No, the
Demelia.
Millier.
Yeah.
So they might have their English ways of saying it because it's not French.
It'll be Demils.
The
I
Miller.
would be making it up
Miller.
if I said it in French.
You're saying it wrong.
Faking it. All right, let's do this as the last question. Okay, in your personal experience, what bags have we noticed for more money or a profit when we had to resell? Connor, let's do you first.
Mine were all trying to think. I've had 3 mini Evelyns from Hermes, and I've sold those all at a profit. 2 I got from the store, and then 1 I got pre-loved, and I sold them all for a profit. So they always held their value. I'm not sure now if they would, because I know that you can't just get them, but they're not as popular. But I've always made money on those.
What about you, Meredith? Do you sell often? You don't really.
I do. I've sold some stuff. Connor's sold some stuff for me. I did a blog sale earlier in the year, and Rod from the Lux Theory has several of my Chanel bags at the moment. So I cleared out sizes that I know I just don't use. So for me, if it's Chanel, it's got to be a mini or a jumbo. I don't do the small and the mediums. They don't suit my lifestyle. So I'm trying to sell all of those. But at the moment, the resale market is terrible. So selling anything.
It's the best time to buy.
Yeah, if you want to buy something, go nuts. But if you're trying to sell something, it's like you're not making a profit on it unless I believe it's an Hermes like Kelly or
that Perennia for Burke bag looks nice. You could sell
you
that.
leave my Birkins alone. Back off, buddy.
Amy, do you want a mini Kelly in box leather? I know where you can get one.
I would love it, but I don't want to pay an arm and a leg for it, though.
That's all right. I've got a contact.
Leave my mini
talk
Kelly
later.
alone. Even like the Lindy's, the mini Lindy's do really well in the resale market. The mini Gypsy Airs, which have just been released, are doing really well on the resale market. So, I mean, unless it's that, I don't think you're making your money back at all on anything these days. It's just terrible.
Yeah. How about you, Dayle?
Anything that I've sold, I think I tend not to just turn things over really quickly. So anything I've sold is usually had, well, actually everything I've sold has been a classic. So there's one thing.
You made money back?
Yeah, and I've made retail price or better because of the time that's passed. So I've given it time. So a lot of people are like, oh, Dior, you'll always lose money on Dior. It's terrible. Well, my Lady Dior, I actually got the full retail price back, and I could have got more, but I timed it. There was a price increase happening, like impending, and so it was a practically new bag, full set. And I always keep everything. I think for me, I feel like that's contributed to the ability to ask at least the retail price that I've paid for certain brands, is that people get a luxury experience. They get the dust bag, the receipt, without my details, obviously, authenticity, the tissue paper. It's not all scrunched up. It's not a mess. Like it's a nice experience. And I think people will pay what I paid for it maybe 3 or 4 years ago today. And I think that's a win. Like, I don't want to be greedy about it. I'm excited that I even made that back. But I'll always start at retail at a starting price and kind of compare the condition of my bag to what retail is today and go, okay, could I ask retail or can I drop a little bit? Like even my Fendi Peekaboo went for a great price, like my black Fendi Peekaboo. And again, they're not known to have great resale, but because it was in good condition, it was, you know, full set and everything, and there'd been price increases, I got my money back. So I actually think if you take care of your things and you make it something that somebody wants to buy, especially if people are gifting, that's the other thing. I've noticed on Fashion File now they have a category of bag that is, they have like excellent as new, suitable for gifting now is a new category. So I think that's potentially you know, people that are looking want to know that if they give it to someone, they're not going to go, oh, this is someone's hand-me-down rubbish. Like it's actually a nice piece and it's a nice experience.
That's interesting. I didn't know there was this new category called suitable for
I
gifting.
just saw it the other day. Yeah, because I was
It's
having a
actually
little
been there
browse.
for a little while now.
Yeah.
At least a year or so. It's been there.
What about you, Amy? What do you, when you sell, what do you notice that
So
is...
I've noticed, and you know, because I guess I have downsized my collection over the years and kind of changed. I went from like a lot of LV to mostly Chanel, and then now it's a bit of both Chanel and Hermes. Everything else tends to lose money except for Chanel mini flaps. In general, Chanel bags will still hold the value. Like you would still be able to just resell it at the price that you bought it at. But for most LVs, it's you either lose money, or if you've had it for a long time, then maybe you can be at par just because you've had it for many years. So after several price increases. So yeah, I feel like it's not like I sold a ton of things, but I feel like for sure the one bag that will always be a safe bet is the Chanel Mini. I don't know if it's still the same these days, just because the Chanel Mini has gone up in price so much. I think I remember my first Chanel Mini that I bought from the store was only $3,500, something like that. And now it's doubled, right? So like I don't know about today, but for sure back then it was, yeah.
No doubt that was the other bag of yours that we sold, the mini, and that's, you made money on that too.
Yeah, I made a couple of grand on that because I bought it
Wow,
for like
that's a lot.
4,070, and I think we sold it for today's retail, which was like 6,500 or something.
Yeah, well, back then's retail when we last year.
Yeah,
but yeah, we sold
back
it for
then. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. I've never made a couple grand on anything.
That's
I'm
because I
lucky if I
sold
make
it.
like
Sorry, Connor from the closet.
It came at a cost though. But it went to Canada, I'm pretty sure. So many bags here go to Canada. I send the most to Canada. Always Vancouver and Quebec.
You know why? Because there's only one store that services the whole BC and one store in Montreal as well. And like literally every collection they would have, say, I don't know, 5 colors of the mini, right? But they would get like 2 that are green, 1 in red, 2 in white, and then they might get like 3 in black. So you've got a total of like 10 bags to go for the entire province. That's just not enough.
Yeah. And you've bought 2 of them already because you need 1 in each color. So
I can't buy 2 of them in one season. I never could. And if I get 1 in one season, I don't get a bag the second season. I never were able to get a bag every single season because they have to allocate it between different clients, I guess, a little bit more fairly.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a mini every season. It would be a mini and then a different bag the next season.
I think for me, Chanel is definitely the one that gets some more, like either you get even a little bit back from the sale, But the rest, I think the rest, yeah, like LV, unless it's in new condition, then it's retail. Otherwise, people would rather buy, well, at least in Singapore, because there's so many resellers here. It's everywhere. They're online. A lot of like Hermes resellers are actually based in Singapore. They have stores here. Then there are a lot of luxury resale, both online as well as offline, at Orchard. So it's really competitive. Unless you have a platform like ours, maybe you can sell it yourself. But people here are savvy, so you can buy it at least at 20-30% off. So most other than Chanel, most things they don't sell for profit if you're selling to a local market here, whether it's Malaysia or Singapore. That is, it's good because it's good for, say, like me who love bags, and I can recycle my bags quickly. But if I'm thinking of making a profit on my own local market, there's no way. But at least I have a ready market to sell very quickly through many consignments here. Makes it easy for me to turn over my bags, which is good and bad.
Yeah. I think it's the only place that I can think of where I would say, yeah, a classic's a good purchase, because I have pretty much only sold classics and I've always recovered what I spent. And even Louis Vuitton, like some seasonal bags, I've still recovered what I spent on them because they were like a classic style, I suppose. But there's a reason that I sold them as well, because they didn't kind of fit in my collection. So I always wonder, so the question I want to ask Jessie Style is, because she has bought and sold so many pieces in her time on YouTube, I don't know about before YouTube, is like, what kind of return is she getting for that turnover to kind of fund her addiction? I should ask her, because we chat a bit on Instagram, but what will she accept, like, to make it worthwhile? Because I know she gets some great deals, but how do you do you keep a spreadsheet so that you know what you spent on it, how much you got to use it, what you're prepared to sell it for, to know if because I don't think there's anything else in my wardrobe that I expect to bring me any money back. It just goes in a garbage bag and it goes to the charity shop, and and it's like, it's nice knowing you, but you no longer bring me joy. My luxury handbags are the only things that I kind of go, oh, well, that's good. I can liquidate. I might not get what I paid, but I know I'll get something. It's pretty interesting, isn't it? It's just a wardrobe item. Like, it's not,
Meredith, I don't even want to know about the prices. I just want it gone. You just mourn the loss if you're attached, just to get it gone.
Oh, all right. I think we are, oh my gosh, 2 hours. Actually, we have one more question. Do you want to take, okay, let's take this. It's from Michelle, and then we'll call it a day. So Michelle's asking, has Chanel alienated starter customers who are would-be buyers but don't have that opportunity? Will they lose out on the younger generation? Ooh, who wants to go first on this? We'll open it up.
I'll go first. So I think that Chanel is now missing entry-level pieces. So in other brands, you can start at a lower level and work your way up as you can afford more. Their entry level is now like $6,000-$7,000 Australian, and that's a wok. We're not even into actual bags yet. So I think that the Chanel buyer will end up being older. I don't think the 18-year-old, unless they've got cashed up parents, are walking in to get a Chanel handbag because it's just too expensive. So I don't know if they've alienated would-be buyers. I just think their buyers are going to end up being older rather than the younger generations.
Yeah, like two things you said there just scare me. One is that an 18-year-old is going to Chanel.
You didn't do
They
that?
do.
They
They're just
do.
like, say what? Yeah, I know they do, but like in my life, that's just not normal. And if it was normal, like I'd have it, I'd be excited. Maybe, I don't know. But for someone who didn't buy their first Chanel bag until she was 30, I'm just like I think it was good because it was considered. It was a considered purchase. Like and I do think that not just Chanel, Michelle, I think it's a great question. Not just Chanel is alienating people who have aspirations to own luxury. Louis Vuitton's doing the same thing with Canvas. And I think ultimately, if they think about their pipeline of customers, you got to have a reason for people to come in and catch the bug, like we've talked about earlier today. And if it doesn't feel welcoming and it feels intimidating and it doesn't feel achievable, I do think people might feel alienated for sure. And even older people who haven't bought luxury before have just got their lives at a spot where they go, you know what, I can treat myself. And I've got no experience with this and I want to go in. And then they go, oh, how much for that thing that holds cards in my phone? $7,000. Oh my God. So I think it could alienate. Yeah, it could alienate people for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Michelle. I guess you'd have to look at what their intention is by doing that. Maybe they don't want younger people buying their products, or maybe they want a certain demographic of people buying it. I know, say if your intention was to buy a bag in that price range, you would kind of go, well, you want to get the best value for what you're buying. So maybe like a walk at Chanel in that price range, you can get something that's a lot more functional with a lot more things at Louis Vuitton or at like Gucci or something, I don't know. So it might either they might not necessarily not be buying it because they can't afford it. It's just not value anymore. And I guess you could argue the quality and everything like that. So it would probably either push them away or it might entice them even more because they're like, this wok is, $6,500, $7,000. Like, I want it because it's that. You don't know what their intentions are, I guess. It's interesting, but if someone wants to buy it, it's worth what someone's going to pay for it, regardless of how old they are. But I don't really think they care about how people feel when they're shopping in there. They just want the dollars. So they're not selling dreams. They're selling caviar, baby. So I don't think they care, to be honest. They're like, whatever, we can do it whatever we like and people will pay.
Yeah. I think it's a strategy though. It's creating this different sort of like a different market. Like I can afford it, and it's obviously just an illusion because it's just a pricing going up higher and higher. I don't think they would alienate the starter buyers. I think what you said, Connor, is true, that people want it even more because look at who they are using as their ambassadors. They're not using the old folk as ambassadors. They're not using the superstars of the 40s, 50s, right? They're using people like Blackpink, who are hip hop high dancers and singers whose generation is the young ones. So you see them carrying this or wearing this Chanel brooch or necklace or bag. They want it even more. And if it's gonna be 4, 7, 8, 9,000, it's even more enticing. It's like, wow, I made it. I'm black. I'm wearing the same thing as Blackpink, Jennie or Jessie or no wait, I don't know what's their name. Rose.
Sophia Richie's wedding was a classic move by Chanel to do all her outfits and her makeup for the day, because that got so much traction and drew such a young demographic to the brand. Like, that was just a phenomenal stroke of marketing.
Yep. I mean, we were never exposed to Chanel. You would see, my friend's grandma, like, oh my gosh, that's an old lady's bag. Yeah. But now it's totally transformed. Every young kid knows about it. Now the 18-year-olds are even more aware of what Chanel has. So now that they're aware, it's just a matter of pricing, right? And if they want to look like their favorite superstar, you're gonna pay.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, if they're going in to buy a luxury bag in the thousands of dollars of anyway, they're not going to be $7,000 and $4,000. If they're shopping for something in the thousands of dollars, it's not going to make a difference. They'll just, like, if that kind of customer is shopping for that kind of luxury product, they're not going to be deterred now that it's a few $1,000s more. It's like, why were you buying it in the first place if now $2,000 has deterred you?
Well, it's the same argument about contemporary bags and luxury bags, isn't it? It's like, if you're buying instead of, is it serving the same need?
Yeah.
And if you want to look like Blackpink, then you're not going to buy the Coach. You're going to buy the Chanel. So
I do think that it will alienate. I can't say this word. Alienate it. I think they do I can't say this word. Alien. I think they will. They will alienate.
Do it in French. Yeah.
Anyway, I think they will repulse the one category of customers, and those are the ones that don't really care about looking like Blackpink or whatnot, but they just really want that dream bag, and they have to save a little bit of time. Not that they can't afford it. Let's just say they can afford it, but like they have to save up, let's say, a couple months of budget to do it. And those are the customers that they will repulse just because Chanel, the vibe they're giving me at the moment is that they're not looking for a person buying just that one purse, just like LV is doing it too. They're looking for that client to be buying a bunch of different things, and then the bag comes. So similar marketing strategy as what Hermès is doing, except Hermès has its own, the reputation behind the craftsman and all that stuff, right? So, but the vibe they are giving me is that because, as I've shared a few times previous to this luxury live show, I've lost 2 of my lovely essays that saw me more as a client that loved the brand. So I didn't buy a bunch of ready to wear and this and that. I mean, I bought a lot, but I didn't buy a like ready to wear, that type of spending, right? So I love the brand a lot. So I was always able to get certain things at the time. But now that I don't have that relationship with anyone, I am all of a sudden like become a rookie at my store. I feel like a rookie, even though I'm not. But it's just like I don't have that relationship with anyone, and I just can't seem to be able to get what I want anymore. So they're not looking for the type of clients like me anymore. And so those are the type of clients that I feel like they are maybe moving away from, whereas they used to be able to help these clients too. So I don't think age is really what matters. It's like the category of wealth, that kind of client that they're looking for.
Amy, how do you think that they will manage having, 6 collections drop a year though, with that kind of marketing strategy, as opposed to Hermès, who might bring out, a couple of seasonal colors, but the same classic bags, maybe a new style here and there. Like Chanel are pumping out the volume and the collections. How do they keep that exclusiveness?
Well, that's why they do like
I don't know, but everything does sell out here. And I guess if you are desperate enough and you're that kind of client like me, you might be desperate enough to buy what's left over.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, that makes me sad, because when I first started watching your channel, like, you were the go-to Chanel gal. Like, you had all the fun, edgy, seasonal pieces, and it was just a really great part of YouTube. Yeah, it was so fun.
Chanel was fun in the 2017 to like 2019. Those were the years it was
exciting.
Yeah.
It was exciting. Now it's all about, it's so hard to get, you can't get your piece. It's actually become frustrating, especially if you love the brand, you want to get something. It's like, Why is it so hard? So that experience it's not fun anymore. It's just
It's
Ugh.
hard and it's unreasonably expensive. It was already so expensive at the time.
Yeah.
Like I was intimidated at the time too. But now it's just another level of intimidation.
it's crazy. Okay, so wow, it was amazing talking to everyone. 2-hour mark, and I think I got a request. Maybe we should do part 2 in the future. So let's do that. Let's do one more. I will arrange with everyone. So thank you, Connor, Dayle, Meredith, for joining us. 2 hours of your time. Hope you enjoyed the show as well.
Coordinating it. It was brilliant.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
We'd
you
love
for
to have
having
you back. Yes. Make sure all of you subscribe to their channels. If you're not, there are 100 and I saw like 160 at one point. So make sure you go to each channel and subscribe.
I didn't swear. Yay!
You did. You said it once.
I what?
You didn't offend anyone. Great job.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All
Maybe
right.
in part 2 you will. Just kidding.
Yeah. We'll let you go. Let you like okay, it can come out now.
No. It's
All
I
right,
already
thanks,
saw
everyone.
there was a few requests for part 2, so we definitely could do that.
We'll definitely
Thank
do
you,
one more.
everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.